Hello, good morning, Zambia. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm Elias Munsha, and welcome to my channel. If you are on YouTube and you're getting me from YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. We'll be giving you and delivering very good content to you. Okay, very nice content. Will not disappoint you. If you are on Facebook, kindly share to as many people as possible. And if you want to come on and participate in this discussion, all you have to do is to click on, in the comment section, I've got a StreamYard access thing that you can click, and then we can have a discussion. So good morning. What time is it in Zambia? It's about 7:41, so that's quite early. But I know that Zambia gets started very early, and so by now, I think most people are awake. If you're not awake, please wake up. All right, so there are some things that I would like to just discuss with you, and then we'll see how it goes. The first one is, now, in most of my discussions, I like giving a little bit of a background. So we take slightly longer than most, but that's what it is, right? So you can always go back when you have enough time and enough talk time and enough bundles. So if you have enough bundles, then you can listen to the whole thing. But we try to do that. Good morning, Eunice. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Good morning. So Freddie Mmembe apparently has been arrested because the liquidator of the Post newspapers thinks that he's stolen or he has hidden some assets that belong to the company. Now, I need to explain a little bit about why the Post newspaper case is very significant, not only for the politics, but for the law, okay? Why is the Post newspaper case extremely significant? It's significant because what started happening with the Post newspapers has continued to happen in Zambia. That's the worry, okay? What started with the Post newspapers has continued as a routine practice from the Zambian High Court to the present. Now, I have issues with the former owner of the Post newspapers because I think he was the one ruling Zambia, basically. That's what I think. I think there's been two companies in Zambia that has had a tremendous influence on politics. Two private companies, the British South African company, and this next one after the British South African company is the Post newspapers. So you know where I am in that regard. So these are the two most influential private companies that Zambia has ever had. So the BSA, of course, it was regarding colonialism, and the Post newspapers, it was because of its influence that it had on Mwanawasa and on the administration of the Michael Sata government. Okay, so there is definitely a lot that can be digested about the Post. However, the liquidation of the Post, okay, the liquidation of the Post, very, very interesting legal dynamics that happened there. And the worry is that it continues to happen now. If you're ready for it, let's dig into it. Number one, you see, private companies in Zambia, they function under a very common fiction, okay? It also happens here in Canada. So the fiction arises from an Old English law known as Solomon and Solomon, okay? So in that case, the judges said that a private company is a person and it's distinct from the shareholders and its directors. So that's the main doctrine as far as companies are concerned. So of course, various jurisdictions along the Commonwealth have varied that definition somewhat, but it remains to be a very, very significant precedent, Solomon and Solomon, that a private company, a registered and incorporated company, is a person that is distinct, okay? okay? Very important, because you're going to see how we move from Freddie Mmembe's Post newspapers to KCM and to a newer case very recently. We are going to look at that. Okay, so you get the first principle, right? A company is a person that is distinct and separate from its directors and its shareholders. So the Post newspaper is a person. That's what the law says. It's a person that is separate and distinct from Freddie Mmembe as a director and Freddie Mmembe as a shareholder, right? Very, 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 very important. Now, when it comes to liquidation, okay, so apparently, when a company is going to be wound up, according to the Companies Act in Zambia, this is what happened. Now, of course, the Companies Act in Zambia is very similar. Again, very similar acts across the British Commonwealth with some variations. So when you are winding down a company or you are liquidating a company, so what you do is somebody in Zambia, at least the Companies Act in Zambia, authorizes any person who has an interest in a company. Okay, it could be an employee, it could be the government, it could be the director. They can go and make an application before the judges so that they can begin the process. A judge can appoint a liquidator to liquidate a company, like if it's not paying its debts. All right. That's where the complication starts as far as the Post newspaper case is concerned. Okay, so any person can go and apply, and then a judge can then do what? Grant or appoint a liquidator. That sounds to be very straightforward. But the issue with the Post newspaper, what complicated the issue is this. Okay, in litigation, when you are taking a matter to a judge, there is this idea known as parties, okay? Parties. So it's not a political party. A party simply means either an individual or an entity that has an interest in a matter, right? So the Post newspaper, again, taking the law in Zambia as it is, the Post newspaper is a person, is a legal person. So it's a party. It's a party that is distinct and separate from Freddie Mmembe as the owner and Freddie Mmembe as the director. So these are all different parties. So you have the Post newspaper as a person. Okay. Now, this is where the complication and something that Zambian courts must resolve. Okay. This is an issue that Zambian courts must resolve as quickly as possible. If they don't resolve this, there's going to be confusion in Zambian company law. Total confusion. Here is how the confusion started. I hope you are ready for this. Okay. Now, when you are liquidating a company, right, a judge is supposed to sign off. So a judge is supposed to say, okay, fine, we have now appointed a liquidator, and this liquidator therefore is going to take over the company. Okay, so if somebody who is interested in the post goes to a judge and does what? And convinces the judge to say, Judge, give me an order that appoints Kantwa to be the liquidator. So when somebody is appointed the liquidator, then they take over the company, basically. So they fire the directors, they fire the shareholders, they take over the company, and they become the ones that are to represent the company. Okay, that's what happens. Now, the issue is that the initial application that was made to appoint a liquidator for the post was obtained under what is known as an ex parte basis. This is going to be boring for most of us that are not involved in law. Okay, what is an ex parte basis? So an ex parte simply means one party goes to a judge, and they then convince a judge to say, Judge, on the basis of this information that I have, this company has failed to do ABCD, therefore you appoint a liquidator to take over the company and sell its assets. Ex parte. Okay, Very, very, very important. Ex parte. So what this means is, if you have an issue with the post, you go to a judge, you do what is known as an affidavit, and you have enough evidence, okay? You put up evidence together. That evidence is unchallenged. In other words, the person that, in fact, even the company itself, the post company itself, does not even receive notice about what you are about to do. So you as an individual, you make an affidavit, you have your own evidence. If it's, for example, debt. So post apparently was owing some workers. Those workers are going to say, post is owing us 2 million kwacha. And so, dear judge, you appoint a liquidator. Now, on the basis of an ex parte application, a judge therefore grants an order appointing a liquidator. Now, at the time that a judge appoints a liquidator for the Post newspaper, several things happen. First of all, that liquidator becomes the temporal owner. We're just going to say owner for now, okay? It's more complicated than that, but we're just going to say the owner. So immediately the judge signs off on an ex parte application, on an ex parte order. It means then that the judge transfers, okay, responsibility over the post from whoever was the director of the post to this new person who's known as a liquidator. That decision to do that is made without notice to the company itself and to other people that are interested in the company itself. So those workers went to court, obtained an ex parte order to appoint a liquidator for the post without the post itself receiving prior knowledge that there is this application that is before a judge. One. Secondly, without Freddie Mmembe as a director of the post receiving prior knowledge that there is this application before a judge. Fourthly, without notifying the shareholder, who is the post, about this particular thing that is going to take place in court. And on the strength of the evidence that is adduced only from one party, a judge signs what is known as an ex parte order to appoint a liquidator. And by the force of that order, Fred Mmembe gets fired from the post on that day. All right. Now, there is this confusion that some of my friends, lawyer friends in Zambia, talk about. Okay. What they say is, you shouldn't worry about the order, the initial ex parte order. Okay, because once the initial ex parte order is given, it's given on an interim basis. And the judge then sets a date at which you are then going to have an inter parte hearing. But here is where the confusion is. When a judge appoints a liquidator, then that liquidator becomes responsible for that company. And that liquidator appoints his own lawyers or her own lawyers to represent the post, such that when the date for an inter parte hearing comes, it is not the post under Mmembe that answers. It is the post under that very liquidator who was appointed on ex parte basis, who answers against the parties that have sued the post. We could be saying, that's not a big deal. The post was a very bad company. Of course, I think it was a very bad company, okay? Because of its influence politically. But have you seen what has happened there? What has happened is an ex parte application is made to appoint a person who becomes responsible for the post, known as the liquidator. When that liquidator takes over the company, they then appoint their own lawyer to represent that company. When the date for an inter parte hearing comes, it is the liquidator and his appointed attorneys that now begin representing the post. That is fundamentally unfair. Not only is it fundamentally unfair, it is illegal. So there is some cleaning up that needs to be done with civil procedure in Zambia about the way people are liquidating companies. That must be cleaned up. If you don't clean it up, there's going to be confusion. If you don't clean up that that thing, there's going to be a lot of confusion. It must be cleaned up. You know, there is nowhere, anywhere in a functioning democracy where you can make an ex parte application that has tremendous impact on on affairs. Ex parte application. If you are saying that an ex parte application is there for temporary, but you've changed by the time that you're having an inter parte hearing and listening from both sides, the structure of one of the parties. What happened with Freddie Mmembe continued happening. So I call them mafias, some lawyers in Zambia. So what they will do is they'll have an issue with a company. Okay, they have an issue with a company. They find a person who perhaps that company is owing. They do an ex parte application, take it before a judge signs off, and a company is liquidated. Just like that. When they say that an inter parte hearing is going to come up, when that inter parte hearing comes up, it's not the original owners or shareholders or directors that are going to be answerable, not even the lawyers of the company that are going to be answerable. It is this person's, the liquidator's lawyers that are going to answer on behalf of the company. The other thing we need to set very clear about these temporal orders, here is the thing. The idea that an ex parte order is temporary is useless. The reason why it's useless is if you give a person temporary powers whose consequences are permanent, it's a permanent order. So if you say that you give a person temporary powers to be able to sell a company, then those powers are permanent. The reason is, even if he's got a temporary order, but if that temporary order authorizes him to sell the assets of the company for good, then that is a permanent order. It doesn't matter that you're going to have an inter parte hearing at a later stage, because that inter parte hearing, in fact, is useless, because in between the time that you obtain the ex parte hearing and the inter parte hearing, you can sell the company, you can sell these assets, you can do all these things. But more than that, you can do it without even giving the directors or perhaps shareholders the opportunity to be heard before a judge. And you go on selling companies. That is the same thing that happened with KCM. That's the same thing that happened with KCM. What happened with KCM is one of the parties goes and applies under what is known as an ex parte hearing. And with that ex parte hearing, a liquidator is appointed. And what is a liquidator? That liquidator then appoints lawyers to represent KCM. And so the directors and the owners of KCM are cut off immediately. That's why when this matter went to South Africa, South African judges were confused. They were like, what is going on in Zambia? How can you give a liquidator so much power without hearing all the other sides? They say, no, it really doesn't matter because KCM is still going to be represented. But the KCM that gets represented at the inter parte hearing is a KCM which is under the leadership of a liquidator who was appointed through an inter parte application. Ex parte application, not inter parte. Ex parte means one party, just one side. The fundamental issue with justice everywhere along the Commonwealth countries is to hear both sides. So it's very easy to be a judge. Why is it easy? Because all you have to do is to hear both sides. Such that if a person makes an application to liquidate a company, before a judge appoints a liquidator, it is important for the judge to hear both sides. And then after you hear both sides, that's when you can appoint a liquidator. The reason is then you have heard the side of that company, and you have heard the side of other people that are interested. So in the KCM, who should have been heard when an application was made to liquidate KCM? Who should have been heard? KCM itself. Very important. You hear KCM. You also hear some of the interested parties like Vedanta. You hear them before you finally appoint a liquidator to go ahead and liquidate a company. Unless, of course, you see, an ex parte application becomes necessary if you are concerned that the assets of the company are going to be stolen, right? Or something like that. Okay. So that is what happened with the post. And this system continues, goes to KCM, and there are several other companies. If you're not aware, very simple search, you can find so many companies in Zambia that have been liquidated through this process. It is not right. Recently, there is another company that was liquidated, and the owners of that company decided to write the Chief Justice to say, Chief Justice, please, you know, deal with this. Deal with this. Again, what is the problem that is there? The ex parte applications, you know, being used to have all these orders that are going to be liquidating companies. That's not fair. Anyway, so as far as the post is concerned, that's a little procedural complication that happened, and as a result of that, and as a result of that application, there is that confusion that is going on. So now the liquidators apparently they took charge of the post, and they've been pestering Freddie Mmembe and trying to get as much things as they can so that they can sell it. And what is really unfair here is that to date, that inter-party hearing keeps getting postponed, and in some cases, the lawyers that were appointed by the liquidator, they want now to do what is known as a consent judgment. You know, gosh, it's very serious. Winnie Trudeau, it sounds quite parasitic and violent. I'm happy you say it's illegal. I think it is illegal, but the problem is it started with the post, and they are now using it for many companies. So if you never Winnie Trudeau, imagine tuwapanga company ku Zambia. Elo nomba maybe kwabako kaishu kakoba tilimbi eweka. You know, the government itself doesn't pay people on the 30th itself. Palakokola. Nomba mwakokola fyo kulipira limbi eweka o mwakokola kokulipira nkongole. Awaba nkongole abo kuye straight kuli judge. Without giving notice to your company to apanga at Chitalu Trudeau Company Limited. No ipera kuna notice at Tulea kuli judge. Baya ku judge on an ex parte basis. Bebere iyi company Trudeau Munshan Company na bakwate nkongole. Ero shinkongole bakwete ni so na so ale chita point ama liquidators. Yonsa ma assets tu akwata bachita point ama liquidators. Yonsa ma assets company akwata bashitisha. Ero balanet mukeseko next week tukeseko ata nomba interparty hearing. Nomba yo interparty hearing yakwata ni Chitalu Trudeau uyo win liquidator na chitaka le take over Chitalu Trudeau Company Limited. Ngasa chita take over nomba ewa yakuli you at interparty hearing. That is what has been happening. Ero nomba yo ine interparty hearing nomba bamba fyokula ichita adjan every day. Bale ichita fi adjan. Before you know it, yonsa ma assets bashitisha. Kange tafikuwa nina nomba kumukonkela nefia nenganda yakwe nombe wale ikalamo Fred Mmembe kuchinsadi. Kachunga ni kuchinsadi kutia. Baya bakonkela tituwapoka. From a process that is very, very fundamentally unfair. You know, that's why the Zambian judicial system should clean up this system of granting ex parte orders to liquidate companies. No, it's bad manners. It's very, very unfair. Okay. Musonda, Mpalasha, Mkushi here with family watching and being enlightened with your vast knowledge. You are bit just the best, but that's far beyond the best. You are learned. Thank you. Of course, my friends, my friends in Zambia would want to say, no, it's okay. No. He system here ama expert orders, to liquidate ama companies. Started mostly with the post. The other cases here covered expert order actually liquidate company. It was in very obvious circumstances here covered in Bimule bala ibama assets. Number one, KCM na confusion here kayeka. That's why in the market, what is happening at KCM right now? Confusion. So when we objected to the issues at KCM, it's not because we were saying that Vedanta is a good company. No. To a mafia style kind of doing things in Zambia. It was pretty bad. You can't do that. You cannot be liquidating companies on the basis of ex parte orders. No. The law says the judge is going to have an order, is going to give an order and appoint a liquidator. That's what the law says. If you are covered, you use ex parte applications are not part of the law. So it's up to you as judges, it's up to Zambian judges to know umuntu ngakuletera affidavit atarefa kusta liquidate company kumwe bate kayite ida company yese yasuke nga waumfwa kantwalanda na company yalanda ero nomba watsa decide that imo as a company mwafirwa, you know, you as a company, as a person at law, you failed to fulfill your obligations. Now let's appoint liquidator. Now let's appoint temporary liquidator. At least nishna wapela a hearing waumfwa their side of the story. Not here kwebate, you've not given them their side of the story. Vena kuisa umfwafye here is an order from a judge appointing Kantwa to be the liquidator. Company vasenda. And these chaps are very, very swift. Vasenda company vamba no kushama assets. But manavaka pokola to locate all the assets around the country. They sell it. Number ama investors could invest in a country like that. In a Rwanda with rules like that, I wouldn't invest. Why would I invest in a country where I don't know bill yet, the bill does not, I don't pay a bill 1 or 2 days. Monfwafi abankongole via court with an ex parte order by Savasa Poker Company. FHT. Among South Africans, the same KCM issue, among South Africans, they said in the Gauteng High Court, but you come and make presentations. Both sides. So Vedanta was there, represented. Even the liquidator was there, represented. The attorney generals, whatever lawyers, they were there. Bonse, Elonomba, Vapanga decision by the South African judge. Very clear. Nish at least now for both sides. Okay, now you're going to liquidate a company. At least for goodness sake, for common sense's sake, listen to both sides. It is as simple as that. Okay. So if there are some of my friends, lawyers who are saying, no, I'm not familiar with Zambian civil litigation. If this is the civil litigation that you're saying I'm not familiar with, it is wrong civil litigation. On the basis of, and again, let me make it very clear, on the basis of ex parte applications, you liquidate companies, you give liquidators almost all the powers under the Companies Act when liquidating, on the basis of ex parte applications. And ex parte applications that changes who is in charge of a company. No. That's not what the law says. That's not what the Companies Act says. The Companies Act simply says the judge will give an order. The idea of using ex parte orders is something that it's an abuse of common sense and the law and civil litigation rules. Muleta abuse. Muleta abuse nama judges that do not know better. Because kwenanga niwe judge. It's simple. Nangubasa kwendelo bushku ati tulefua which they appoint a liquidator for KCM. Kube pusha. Okay. Mandatory application, mlefati, which they appoint a liquidator for KCM. For goodness sake, you want me to appoint a liquidator for KCM, and the liquidator has all the authority ayakushtisha company. Honestly, mandate robush what inside nepapaliria order. No. Kumievati kayiten KCM. I have a few questions. Uluchero ngawacha. Beten. Diyawaisa nombero wabeba. Timweba KCM. Umfweni. This and this company. Was ZCCM Investment Holdings. Varefwa tutuchiteshani. Tuchita point a liquidator. Mlandu wakovati. Tamule. You're not keeping things properly. At least umfwe kuna mfini 1 hour. Bapere 1 hour. Umfwe basabairi. Ngabasabaira. Ero number what's the issue? Your temporary order to liquidate. If you panga sense, not to kweba tiyo wasaina ilo wabeba tiyo mkwai, this is just a temporary liquidation order. Mukese next week so that tuka kwate inter-party hearing. When you know, ukweba by on the strength of that ex-parte order, uliawi no apela liquidator, akachita point ama lawyers avakwe. Such that your hearing, it's not really strictly an inter-party hearing. It's just a hearing between we only liquidator watch that point. How? If you can say whatever you have to say. It's not normal. It's not right. Chilufya Zambian law is based on common law, which is based on equity or fairness. Where is the fairness without hearing the accused? It's true, Patrick Chilufya. That's the thing, right? That's the role of judging. It's hearing both sides. Okay, but excuse Valanda, Yakwevati, we are not really doing anything here. So Valandati, it's temporary. My argument is, no, it's not. The temporary, Nangfe order Yalanda is temporary. If it's power, ama paragraphs yadimu order, ngayadi nganaya kwata permanent power. Nish, it's a permanent order. So the Turanda Tiyom kwa it's just temporary tukakwata inter-party hearing where we are going to resolve everything. Has the inter-party hearing happened in the post? No. What about KCM? Has the inter-party hearing happened? No. Nichove Vedanta appealed, and then Bamona judges of South Africa, Baba Mwenamo. Elo nomba whatever judge. They're very okay, we are going to stop it until the appeal court hears it. You know? So how should this be corrected? Maybe amend the Companies Act to an extent where vaka vike more clearly ukwebati ngamlefo kusta liquidate company, give them an opportunity to be heard. Namfini 1 hour mukuti babika mwati they will be given an hour to make some arguments before a temporary order is made. Ama temporary ex parte orders mwapera abantu bambako kuchita liquidate ama companies. Any investor that falls out of favor must obtain ama temporary ex parte orders, mwashitisha ma assets. That's not right. I can even write. Oh, Edwin, so what you can write? You can write. I don't know. Maybe you can. Changala, bread na Changala. Yes, sir. We are really dealing with learned criminals in Zambia. Everything in Zambia has broken down. The biggest casualty is the rule of law, which has broken down. Yeah, I think as far as this liquidation of companies using ex parte orders, it's bad. It's wrong. That's it. There is no other way to put it. Mateo Chembes, watching from Zambia. So according to your explanation, in this system, how possible is that the directors cannot arrange liquidators to apply for ex parte so that they run away from being questioned? Then the liquidator sells assets, which goes back into the... Yeah, okay, that's a little bit more complicated, Mateo Chembe. I did not anticipate that it would be that complicated. Monday. I think there is that provision. I don't know. I have to consult the Companies Act again to see who can apply for a company to be liquidated, whether the actual directors of a company can apply to liquidate, or they can apply instead to wind down a company, something like that. I'll leave it up to people that are much more competent and clever. Okay, but that is a possibility. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so Zambian judges tabakwata iyo knowledge mwakwata imwe bachiwempala grant tabakwata knowledge itwakwata bachiwempala. I don't know. What do you think, Grant? Here is the issue. Fundamentally, in the KCM issue, for example, the judge granted an ex parte order on the basis of an ex parte application and transferred control of this company to a liquidator without hearing KCM. I don't know whether she applied her mind to what she was doing. I have no idea. But what she did was fundamentally, that's why it caused so much confusion worldwide. London Queen, it's confusion. Canada, watwala application ya kuchita wind down company on an ex parte basis, a big company such as KCM, on the basis of evidence that is adduced from only one party, and that evidence becomes sufficient for you to grant an ex parte order. No. Nish, what is so urgent? Why are you acting so urgently, Yakovat? You can't even give KCM an opportunity to be heard. Again, Nindandakali about the fact that Nangwasalan that I'm going to set the date for an inter-party hearing at a later stage. But at that point, when you have that inter-party hearing, Nishi ama controllers ba KCM na bachinja kale as a result of the order that you have given. So I don't know whether Zambian judges have are alive to this issue. All I'm pointing out is that it's a system that begins with the post newspapers issue, and it continues because liquidators, I think, our post ever into various other companies. A lot of small companies, Kaisa, Kachta Invest, Kachta Kotuma assets, Mozambia, Kachta run into some problems, but the pounds are liquidators through ex parte applications. No, as a shareholder or director, you no longer have authority because you are not a party. Because kareka company wapangirira kena kamuntu. So you are distinct and separate from your company. And so that company, a judge, appointed a person to take care of it. They can't even hear you. You don't have what is known as locus standi. You don't have standing. Tafikuloleshe. When we know a company, wapanga company. Atiyo tafikuloleshe yo. Mlandu bamfuafi from one side. Bamupera na maka liquidator. Aya na mukushtisha. Alef mafia ku court liquidator na kwata kale amaka achita take over my accounts, achita take over my assets, concept everywhere around the country. Tonso tumyotoka company kovenga kali shiteko tumyotoka. Tonse liquidate. Eno na company na ikwate nkongolation liquidator yena kumulipira. You see? Ebo mafia bule chitika. Titus Ngosa, why can't you come and help the government? In case the Munshira. Daisa. Okay. That's it on Freddie Mmembe and the Post newspaper. I think now we can move on to the issue of what is the issue? The next issue is the Chilufya, Dr. Chitalu Chilufya. Okay. Dr. Chitalu Chilufya. That's the issue. That's the next issue. Okay. Dr. Chitalu Chilufya. That's the next issue that we are going to talk about. Now, here is what's the thing. Okay. Again, I'm going back into a little bit of background because I like giving people a little bit of background, the reason why I am saying what I say, and that's important. President Lungu, now it's the issue a statement here, because Chitalu Chilufya has not been convicted in a court of law, okay? Because Chitalu Chilufya has not been convicted in a court of law, Lungu says he can't fire Chitalu Chilufya. Because Lungu is saying that because Chitalu Chilufya has what is known as a presumption of innocence. What is this presumption of innocence? The presumption of innocence is this doctrine that we have in common law jurisdictions that a person who is accused of a crime is presumed innocent until a court of competent jurisdiction does what? Pronounces that they are guilty. So, imwe ngana mwikala munganda kabwalala aisa mibira malasha. Amingirira munganda aiba malasha. Of all things, kabwalala mwamusanga kabwalala naiba nasenda amalasha. Okay? Amalasha yobe kuchwe mpala wamwikata kabwalala. According to this doctrine, Ulia kabwalala ali innocent. It is known as a presumption of innocence. Chachine na umumonati naiba. Jimbi na pamalasha pene waliremba poneshina liove. Auti ilioeshina liya ni nani? Niwe gatuishinga niwe nani? Na ubika poneshina pamalasha. That person is presumed innocent until the magistrate kuchingola vaya chita pronounce okobatiwe waliva. Before the magistrate chita pronounce at waliva, that person is presumed innocent. No kumutoba molupi mulando. Wewa toba molupi mulika bwala lo wasanga tareiva amalasha. Niwe walufyanya. The reason is because under criminal law, there is what is known as a presumption of innocence. Now, a presumption of innocence does not mean then that umuntu touch tirecho. No, all that it means is that the law clothes you with innocence. And they do that for the purposes of criminal law. That's it. Now, it doesn't mean that kuline newa mwiketa reiba tnishi nshamu mwena tareiba. No, aliba. You understand that? Aliba as far as my facts are concerned. Aliba. But as far as the criminal law is concerned, he is innocent. And in, for example, nganshire ku court muku chita testify at nalimona leiba, a magistrate is going to say you are acquitted. Now, a person is acquitted not because they did not steal. A person is acquitted because in eneo baibire nshale fwa yokuya muku chita testify. So my prosecutors tabaleta ma witnesses abalashi no yumuntu atari chitashani aliba. Okay? Number Lungu as a president. Balikwata access to information about nearly every member of his cabinet. Tabalefwai kukwata very powerful evidence here kobati yaiminina in a court of law for him to make up his mind ukwebati Chitalu Chilufya ali ikata pachuma chachalo. No. Number, if you are Lungu balela and Fiakwebati, unless you are magistrate, Achta pronounce kwa Chitalu Chilufya adiva, Bena cannot act at all. Which is pretty dangerous. Number, imagine with me. Okwebati, you are the president. Umuntu wako ingilira mu State House. Wamwikata, okay, balungu abene, baikata umuntu ingilira mu State House, abebira amarasha. Elo balungu basala natawe, ine nangu umuntu nimbona nanjibira amarasha. As far as I'm concerned, nala konkani hapo kumutashani, ukumwikaleka mu cabinet until kotika landati waiva amarasha. Does that make sense? No. Wofi. A justification yako bomfia the criminal law procedure to stop Balungu from firing corrupt people in his party is a sign either that President Lungu banwananko oyo muntu balyananko oyo muntu n'okwiba beba bonse. There is no other explanation. A justification iyako bomfia criminal law at a rule of law. It's false, it's useless, it's foolish. But SCC, Anti-Corruption Commission, they are under the command of President Lungu. We just need to set this clear. The President of the Republic is Commander-in-Chief of the SCC because the SCC is one of the security wings, the investigative wings. They serve the president. They are under the command of the president. The activities that the SCC does, they do it in the name of the president. They are under the command of the president. Chitalu Chilufya, as a minister, serves at the pleasure of the president. That's what the Constitution says. The president appoints Chitalu Chilufya. There is nothing that Chitalu Chilufya shows to the president for him to be appointed. The president desires Musonta at his pleasure. So, between an agency that you command and a person who serves at your pleasure, the agency you command as a security must have higher consideration over people who serve at your pleasure. Simple. The reason is because Chitalu Chilufya has no constitutional entitlement to being a minister. He doesn't. Not even the law. There is no law in Zambia that entitles Chitalu Chilufya to the office of minister. That's why all this confusion that no, Chitalu Chilufya holds a constitutional office as a minister. No, it's all BS. Chitalu Chilufya does not hold a constitutional office as a minister. The office of minister is not a constitutional office. They serve at the pleasure of the president. So if you keep Chitalu Chilufya in cabinet, it simply means that he's serving under your pleasure. There is no legal provision that ties Chitalu Chilufya to President Lungu's cabinet. Number, the SEC, abachita investigate bukabwarala basamwe balungu ati Chitalu Chilufya na tukwata reasonable suspicion okwebati he has stolen things from the state. We have reasonable suspicion balungu bebere no imwe ba SEC ifyo mulelanda nshibishibe fya upuba until you take him, by much to convict Mukote, I'll keep him. Who does that? Okay. And President Lungu cannot say that until he's no. If you go, if you ofiro chita, ngayakutira ba ICC bakwe batu yumuntu nikabwalala. Ngale mutamfye. Ayin. Ngolefo kumuchiteru ya point, tuwa muchiteru ya point kuntanshi. Kutu wa mutamfia tiwe Chitalu Chilufya ngale na kutamfia. God answer those charges that my anti-corruption commission, my agency that I command, have against you. Pantunga wa keeping at Chitalu Chilufya, ulechita send message, kuli bali ulechita command, ukweba ati, you don't respect them, you don't recognize them. It's very discouraging to the SEC officers. Abo folesha 5 kuacha, and yet they are working hard every day ofo yoku ikata wakabwalala. Nomba waikata kabwalala, bamutu wale ku court, ati yo mkwai nalamuleka inside cabinet. Giving the impression as if ba Lungu nga bamutamfya Chitalu Chilufya nishi, it's the same as his guilty. No, the people who pronounce guilt, again, it's not President Lungu, it's a court. However, because President Lungu is running a state where tatufule tuwa kwata mo corruption muli chichalo, tatufule tuwa kwata mo corruption muli cabinet. That is what it's supposed to be. Number venati yo. No, there is only one issue. If you definitely wala design, uenda nangoshe no kumube mube. So ba Chitalu Chilufya bakabwalala na ba Lungu bala ibea. Balomfuana. Twala wekeshapo. Banwa bonse, balya bonse, n'okwiba beba bonse. Ekyo tabale batamfisha. Nga iwe wekateeka, President of the Republic, sure. Bakuletera ba SEC ati unika bwalala. You can't act. Mwebananda. If you can't act on that, nation finish which the act as president. Eno president walikwatana bashushushu. Okay, bashushushu by definition, they specialize in what I call ifyabofya. So these things, they don't stand scrutiny before a judge. That's why shushushus don't go to court. Have you ever heard that shushushu by a court? No, they don't. So the state has in fact given you tools. Okay, these tools, they're not going to stand strict legal scrutiny, right? They can't. You can't take them to a judge and say, judge, decide. But at least they can give you information, because as a president, the state expects you to have information to rule the people. So you can do 1 or 2 searches and kutu wamuno kwebati ababa Chitalu Chilufya bali ni ba doctor twale bafolesha shinga ili atu kuacha peye for the years that he served as a medical doctor kulwa Apula. I have no idea why most Wapulans are thieves, except in anyway. Kuti mwamona, ero nombo muntu asaba minister, suddenly alekula everywhere, aleshite fintu everywhere, you know. Shushushus can tell you, ati yo mkwai kwena kanavesa, tatubeke ete yo. Lelo kuli ubu fyuku na tumfuako eli ashuku na tumfuako tumangwinguku na tumfuako okunoku tuwaliba mwene bale chitakashi kalya ka check tuwaliba mwene palya na palya. You put pieces together and you make a decision. No, but why does he have shushushu? You know, that is the thing. That is the idea that we have. You have access to information because to take abantu. So number every person, hello, I need to be very clear. Conviction in criminal court is extremely difficult. Don't even laugh at SEC, at batwala umuntu chitotela ku court bafiro ku chita convince judge. It's extremely difficult. Because these sophisticated thieves, they hire very good lawyers like me. Apparently in Zambia, you shouldn't say that you are a good lawyer. Kuno turalanda, okay, turalanda quite good, but you shouldn't exaggerate. Anyway, they hire very good lawyers. Hello, if you are a good lawyer or before a magistrate, quick share of a prosecutor, one question on a witness, one question. Ushawalimu mwene Chitalu Chilufya tiyo mgwaisha mwene. Hapo pena hapo, the reason is in criminal court for you to convict, you need what is known as beyond reasonable doubt. Beyond reasonable doubt. It's a very high threshold. They are convict. That's why you see they are set free because there is no evidence to convince a magistrate or a judge under that high threshold. Yeah, beyond reasonable doubt. That is what is happening. So limbi na prediction not kwatakare ifika chitika. It's either a nolle prosecute. Nolle prosecute means the DPP we can't continue with this. Fiakosa. Nangu bachita prosecute in a very, very sloppy manner. Bamuchita quit. And quit, all that property becomes his. Later on, when you try to question him, that no, I didn't go to court and I won the case. What are you talking about? So much to launder all the stolen loot using the court system. You see how this thing works. Whose responsibility is it to do? It's President Lungu. So we refuse, we can't accept explanation because any person, with a little bit of reason, it's true, he's innocent. But as far as cabinet is concerned, as far as politics is concerned, he's a thief. Okay? Niwakabwalala. Naifia kukula bali kula. Fiance. Naifintu baleshta. Nenda mashirechta disappear. Na COVID-19 donations valiva. Ama contracts Ministry of Health, they are in confusion. Icho balongo tabalechta act. Twalaweke shako. Nicho vanwa bonse. Valia bonse. No kuiva. Beba bonse. Nalungwe Priscilla Ba Chitalu nabonaula health ministry. That's why the issue is that's why some participate mufia kushova abantu abashasambirira sana. Inshoba kwa abashasambirira. Ama politicians abashasambirira. No. Because to panga impression as if ama politicians abasambirira bali bakobwe n'okuchira abashasambirira. It's all the same. That's why I deal with the character of individuals and not just the fact that they're educated. Look at the bonds, educated and non-educated, they're stealing. The kind of things that is going on at the Ministry of Health, you would wonder whether this person has even been to school. But he's the one that has mismanaged the entire ministry, completely mismanaged it, and is stealing. Right? Very educated, an educated thief. Right? So it's not about somebody's education. That's why we need to change our focus from just emphasis on education. I have 7 degrees myself, so I value education a lot. I like it. I'm an educator my life, and I love education. But you can find a lot of educated thieves. That's why we need to be emphasizing more on character, on issues that are going to safeguard the interests of our country, rather than just education. Okay, so I'm much more concerned about whether the Minister of Youth and Sport and Child Development is going to hold together that ministry and stop stealing, rather than the level of his education or how he pronounces the English. Okay, that's why in a number ndera na mchibembe because ara Songo ukuiba mutsungu kwa chirabo so nomba kolanda kona mchibemba fyapala kwa hivyo. So what's the difference? Nothing. We must just emphasize if any person becomes a politician, that they become much more faithful to the things, much more faithful to Zambia. Okay. If you have politicians that are good, they can hire educated people quite all right, right? But for politicians, it really doesn't matter. I don't care. Not even grade 12 do I care. All I care is that Nabeshivatifi Tekuikatako. Beautiful way. Medicines now we watch the Chilufya. Fiance Chilufya Diva. And the President Lungu at you, I can't fire him. There is only one reason. Nicho. Vanwa bonse. Valia bonse. No kuiva kuine. Veva bonse. Good morning, Zambia. We've got to end here because we need to go and sleep. All right. If you are on YouTube, please don't forget to like my channel. Like it. Just click subscribe to it. YouTube. On Facebook, like our Facebook page. And we are going to continue giving you this long-winded content. I think we need it, right? Because we can very easily do the small clips here and there, but I like long explanations. Maybe that tells me a little bit about what I'm meant to do and not just be a lawyer like teacher, isn't it? Okay. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. God bless you and God bless our country.